Welcome to Awakening the Chosen Ones. The fact that you're here watching this video is a sign that you're chosen for a purpose, whether it's big or small. The key is recognizing and accepting your role as the chosen one. When God has chosen you, no weapon formed against you will prosper, not because they won't try, but because they can't win. If you've ever wondered why life feels like a battlefield, here's the truth. You're not ordinary. You're chosen. That's why people come after you, try to tear you down and question your worth. They sense something different about you, something powerful, even if they can't put it into words. You carry a light, a purpose, that exposes their insecurities, and instead of reflecting, they attack. But here's the kicker. Their fight isn't with you, it's with the one who sent you, and that's a fight they will never win. Chosen ones, you're here to make waves, disrupt the darkness, and stand firm in your truth. God doesn't choose you for an easy life. He chooses you to break barriers and build legacies. Yes, the attacks sting, and the betrayal cuts deep. But don't forget this. Every attempt to harm you only accelerates their own downfall. Divine protection surrounds you, and no amount of scheming or hate can alter your destiny. This is your wake-up call to stand taller, fight smarter, and rise higher. Watch the video and let these words remind you of who you are, chosen, unstoppable, and divinely protected. God's plan for you is bigger than their plot against you. Number 1. Their jealousy is eating them alive. Jealousy is a poison, and for your enemies, it's one they drink willingly every time they see you thriving. They don't just dislike you. They envy you on a level that eats away at their soul. It's not your fault, but it's your reality. They see the potential you carry, the purpose driving you, and the divine favor that surrounds you, and it magnifies everything they think they lack. Instead of being inspired or seeking to grow, they take the easy way out, trying to tear you down. What they don't understand is that envy is a self-inflicted wound. The more they focus on what you have, the smaller they feel. Every time they try to sabotage you, spread lies, or undermine your progress, it's not really about you. It's about their own insecurities. They think destroying you will fill the void inside them, but all it does is widen the gap. Jealousy blinds them. Instead of seeing the opportunities to learn from your example, they're consumed by bitterness. They don't realize that the very energy they waste on hating you is the energy they could use to improve themselves. But envy doesn't allow for logic. It turns them into their own worst enemy, leading them down a path of frustration and failure. Meanwhile, you keep rising. Your potential doesn't shrink because of their envy, it grows. Your purpose doesn't falter because of their hate, it strengthens. And their jealousy? It becomes a fire that burns them from the inside out. Let them watch, let them seethe. Their envy will never touch you because it's their weakness, not yours. What they don't understand is that your favor is divine. It's not something they can take or diminish. And the more they try, the more they'll be consumed by their own jealousy. Number 2, they're blind to the protection surrounding you. Most people underestimate what they're up against when they try to harm you. They look at you and see just another person. They miss the bigger picture entirely. What they fail to realize is that you're not standing alone. The surface they see doesn't reflect the spiritual armor surrounding you. What they perceive as vulnerability is actually a layer of divine protection that they can't even fathom. Every attack they send your way is met with invisible force, an unseen hand guiding you, shielding you, and deflecting every blow. Their efforts might seem to make an impact at first, but every time they try, they only end up hitting a brick wall. They're too blinded by their own arrogance to realize that they're not fighting you. They're fighting against forces they can't understand. This protection isn't something you earned or something you can lose. It's a shield, forged in a realm far beyond their reach, and no matter how hard they try to destroy you, they're always running headfirst into it. Each malicious act they attempt bounces right off, and instead of weakening you, it only strengthens the divine support that surrounds you. They think they have the power to bring you down, but all they're doing is wasting their energy against something they can't touch. Every step they take toward you brings them closer to a reckoning they won't see coming. They're playing a game they don't understand, and the outcome was decided long before they ever tried to attack. Let them try. They won't win. They never could. The protection surrounding you is impenetrable, and their ignorance is their downfall. Every move they make only proves how blind they are to the force keeping you safe. Number 3, they can't handle the consequences of messing with divine timing. When people try to mess with your journey, they're stepping into a territory they can't comprehend, divine timing. What they fail to understand is that your path isn't just a series of random events. It's a blueprint set in motion by something far greater than any of them. Every move you make, every moment you experience is orchestrated by forces they can't control. And when they try to disrupt it, they're playing a dangerous game with consequences they're not equipped to handle. God's timing is precise. It's flawless. It's not something anyone can manipulate or interfere with, no matter how much they think they have the power to change things. When people try to block your blessings, sabotage your progress, or push you off course, they're not just messing with you. They're trying to manipulate something far beyond them. And that's when things get real. Divine timing has a way of snapping back, and when it does, it doesn't miss. People who think they can play God and control your fate are in for a rude awakening. Their interference doesn't just throw off your plans, it disrupts the cosmic order. And when that happens, divine justice has no mercy. Those who dare to mess with timing don't just suffer. They often find themselves facing outcomes they never saw coming. The consequences of interfering with something this powerful can be severe, sometimes even fatal to their own plans. They can't see the divine hand guiding you, but it's always been there. Keep moving forward, because their attempts to alter your course are nothing more than a futile exercise in defiance. And when the divine wheel turns against them, they'll realize too late that they were never meant to play God in the first place. Number 4, their ignorance of spiritual laws is their downfall. They operate under the misguided belief that their actions don't have consequences, that they can move through the world without any greater reckoning. But spiritual laws don't bend to their will. They are unyielding, immutable, and always at work, whether they can see them or not. Every malicious move they make against you doesn't just disappear into the ether. It sparks a chain reaction in the unseen realm. And that chain reaction, it will inevitably circle back to them, often with a force they never anticipated. What they don't realize is that every negative intention they send out is met with divine balance. The energy they put into harming you doesn't vanish into nothing. It's absorbed by the very laws of the universe, and those laws work with a precision they can't control. What they fail to understand is that they're not just challenging you, they're challenging the very forces that govern existence. The ignorance they hold about spiritual laws is their greatest weakness. They think their lies, schemes, and attacks can go unnoticed or unpunished. But the universe doesn't forget. The energies they put into their hatred and jealousy must return to them amplified. Every small act of sabotage is a seed sown in the soil of their own downfall. As they continue to play in ignorance, they dig a deeper hole for themselves, unaware that their actions will come back with a vengeance. You're not fighting them in the way they think you are. They're fighting an unseen, unrelenting force that always has the final say. And in the end, it's their ignorance of these spiritual laws that will be their undoing. They can't escape the law of cause and effect, and it will hit them hard when the time comes. Number 4, they're trapped in a cycle of self-inflicted chaos. They're caught in a trap of their own making, and they don't even see it. Every effort they make to stop you pulls them deeper into their own spiral of chaos. What they don't realize is that their obsession with you becomes the very thing that entangles them, binding them in a prison of their own creation. While they focus all their energy on trying to block your rise, they fall further into their own self-inflicted turmoil. Their mind is consumed with your every move, every success, every moment that reminds them of what they'll never have. Instead of focusing on their own growth, they channel their energy into sabotage, jealousy, and hate. And with every attempt to tear you down, they only dig themselves into a deeper hole. It's a cycle they can't escape because the more they obsess, the more they spiral out of control. Meanwhile, you move forward, unscathed, unaffected, and unstoppable. You're not bound by their chaos. You're aligned with a higher purpose, one that doesn't depend on their actions or opinions. As they watch their own world crumble around them, you continue to rise. It's a bitter irony. They think they can control your destiny, but in reality, they're the ones trapped in a never-ending cycle of self-destruction. Their obsession with you becomes the chains that hold them back, while you break free and step into the future they tried to keep you from. The harder they try to bring you down, the further they fall. And the saddest part? They'll never realize they were the architects of their own destruction. Number 5. God's protection comes with a warning label. God's protection isn't just a shield, it's a warning. There's a quiet, almost imperceptible force that warns those who try to harm you. Gut feelings, subtle signs, and even direct consequences. They feel it in their core, but many choose to ignore it. It's like the universe sending out a signal. Don't cross this line. But when they refuse to listen, when they continue to press forward in their attempts to tear you down, the consequences they face become inevitable. The thing is, God doesn't just protect His chosen ones. He warns those who seek to do harm. It's like a divine alarm ringing in their ears, telling them to back off. When they ignore it, when they continue with their schemes, they're not just challenging you. They're challenging divine authority, and that's something they can't win against. Every time they try to mess with your peace, they're walking into territory they can't control. The protection surrounding you isn't a passive force, it's active, and it doesn't sit idle when threats arise. God has a hand in your journey, and anyone who tries to interfere with it is met with a force far beyond their comprehension. They may think they can get away with it. They may feel like they can escape the warning signs, but what they fail to understand is that God doesn't play when it comes to His chosen. Disrespecting that divine protection comes with a price, and when they ignore those warnings, their downfall is sealed. Their attempts to harm you only set in motion a sequence of events they can't stop, and by the time they realize it, it's too late. Number 6. Their destruction is a lesson for others. Their downfall isn't just about them. Sometimes it's a lesson for everyone watching, a powerful reminder of what happens when you try to mess with something divinely appointed. When God steps in and deals with those who try to harm His chosen ones, it's not only to protect you, it's to restore balance in the grand plan. Their destruction serves as a clear and undeniable warning to others. Do not touch what is sacred. Do not tamper with what is divinely aligned. You may never see the full impact of their downfall, but trust that it ripples out far beyond them. Their actions have consequences not only for them, but for everyone else who witnesses it. When someone steps out of line trying to disrupt the divine order, God's intervention doesn't just protect you, it reaffirms the cosmic laws that govern all things. Their failure becomes a public lesson, showing others that there's a price to pay for crossing certain lines. It's not about vengeance. It's about setting the universe back on course, about ensuring that balance is maintained. And for anyone who might think about challenging the divine plan, their destruction stands as a warning. Try to break what's ordained, and you will be the one broken in the end. Sometimes God's intervention is bigger than just one person. It's about showing the world that divine authority isn't something to be trifled with, and anyone who dares to test it will ultimately face the consequences. Number 7. Your light exposes their shadows, and it's killing them inside. There's something about your light that rattles people to their core. You don't even have to say a word. Your very existence makes them uncomfortable. That's because your light is pure, unshakable, and authentic, and it shines in a way that leaves nowhere for their shadows to hide. It exposes the truth they've been avoiding, the insecurities they bury, the lies they live, and the person they fear becoming. And instead of facing that truth, they lash out at you, desperate to dim the light that makes them feel so exposed. But here's the irony. The harder they try to diminish you, the brighter your light becomes. Every insult, every plot, every underhanded move they make only serves to amplify the reflection of their own flaws. It's not you they're fighting, it's the reality of who they truly are, and it's a battle they're doomed to lose. Your light acts like a mirror, reflecting back their darkest parts to themselves and everyone around them. They can't escape it. The more they try to hurt you, the more obvious it becomes to others that the real problem isn't you. It's them. They unravel bit by bit under the weight of their own jealousy and bitterness. And the truth is, self-destruction is inevitable for people who refuse to confront their own shadows. They burn themselves out trying to put out your fire, not realizing that your light isn't something they can touch. It's divine, untouchable, and completely out of their control. All you have to do is keep shining. The truth has a way of revealing itself, and their attempts to stop you only speed up their own downfall. You're not their enemy. Their refusal to face themselves is, but they'll never admit that. It's killing them inside. Number 8. They're playing checkers while you're playing 4D chess with divine backing. Being chosen means you operate on a completely different wavelength. While others are focused on petty games and short-term wins, your every move is guided by something much deeper: intuition, purpose, and a plan that's divinely orchestrated. You're not just playing to survive the moment. You're navigating life like a grandmaster, anticipating moves that haven't even crossed their minds yet. This frustrates them because no matter what they do, they can't predict your next step. They act impulsively, driven by ego and emotions, reacting to you instead of understanding you. They think they're playing smart by plotting against you, throwing shade, or trying to box you into their limited vision of who you should be. But while they're busy playing checkers, moving one piece at a time with no strategy, you're seeing the board for what it truly is: a complex, interconnected system where every action has consequences they can't begin to comprehend. Here's the brutal truth. Every time they come at you, they hurt themselves more than you. Their attacks are like punching a mirror. You stay intact because your strength isn't surface deep. It's fortified by a higher power. But for them, every hit shatters the reflection of their own inadequacies. Their bitterness, jealousy, and insecurities are exposed with every failed move, and it's their own chaos that ends up bleeding them dry. This isn't arrogance, it's reality. When you're chosen, your steps are ordered, your protection is unparalleled, and your purpose is unshakable. No scheme, no gossip, no attack can derail you. They don't see it yet, but they're already playing a losing game. Stay focused, stay sharp, and let them crumble under the weight of their own missteps. You don't have to fight dirty. Your divine backing ensures you've already won. Number 9. Their attempts to sabotage you are a test of their own character. Every time someone tries to sabotage you, it's not really about you, it's about them. You're not the one being tested. They are. Your presence in their lives is like a spotlight, shining on their character and forcing them to show their true selves. How they choose to treat you when faced with your light and purpose reveals everything about who they are and where they're headed. When they betray you, spread lies about you, or plot against you, they're not just attacking a person. They're failing a divine test. You're not just anyone. You're someone with a purpose, someone destined to make a difference. And that's not something to take lightly. God placed you in their path not to harm you, but to see how they'd respond to the challenge of encountering someone chosen. But instead of rising to the occasion, they falter. They see your potential and feel threatened. They see your light and feel exposed. Instead of learning from you or supporting you, they choose jealousy, spite, and sabotage. That's their undoing. Every time they act out of malice, they dig a deeper hole for themselves. What they don't realize is that their actions aren't going unnoticed. God is watching. Every scheme, every betrayal, every attempt to derail you is recorded and accounted for. They're writing their own story, and unfortunately for them, it's a cautionary tale of what happens when you attack someone divinely protected. So don't waste your energy fighting back. Their attempts to bring you down only serve as proof of their inability to rise. You're moving forward, unshaken, while they're left to face the consequences of their choices. Their failure is inevitable, because this was never your test to begin with. It's theirs. And they're failing spectacularly. Number 10. You're a target because you disrupt their comfortable lies. Being chosen isn't just a title. It's a reality that shifts the atmosphere wherever you go. You don't have to say much. Your mere presence speaks volumes. You stand out without trying because the light you carry makes people uncomfortable in ways they can't explain. You reflect the truth they've been hiding from, and that truth is like a mirror they didn't ask to look into. It's not your fault, but it's your reality. You disrupt their comfortable lies. See, most people build their lives around illusions, pretending they're fine when they're not, settling for mediocrity, hiding their insecurities behind a mask. Then you walk in, living in authenticity and moving with purpose, and suddenly their world feels too small. They feel exposed, weak, and threatened by the very thing that makes you different, your light. This is why they lash out. It's easier for them to attack you than to confront their own shortcomings. They try to break you, silence you, or discredit you, thinking it will let them return to their comfort zone. But here's where they make their biggest mistake. In trying to destroy you, they awaken forces far beyond their understanding. Your light isn't just yours, it's divinely backed. Every attack against you is met with protection they can't see. Every scheme they plot only tightens the noose around their own necks. They're not just fighting you, they're fighting a higher purpose, and they don't even realize it. So let them try. Let them reveal their true selves. What they fear most isn't you, it's what you represent: growth, truth, and change. And that's something they can't escape, no matter how hard they fight. Keep shining. Their chaos can't dim your purpose. Number 11. They're waging a spiritual war. They don't understand. Most of the people who come after you think they're just playing games, spreading rumors, throwing shade, or trying to make you feel small. To them, it's all about control, payback, or teaching you some twisted version of a lesson. What they don't realize is that they're stepping into a war they're not equipped to fight. This isn't just personal, it's spiritual, and in that arena, they're hopelessly outmatched. You're not fighting alone. When you're chosen, you carry a divine purpose that comes with protection far beyond what they can see or understand. Every scheme they plot, every attempt to drag you down, is met with resistance they can't even sense. To them, it feels like things just aren't going their way. But what's really happening is that they're being blocked by forces they'll never comprehend. This isn't about you retaliating or stooping to their level. It's about letting them battle with the truth of what they've stepped into. They think they're dealing with flesh and blood, but the reality is much bigger. When someone tries to harm a chosen one, they're not just coming for you, they're going against the divine plan that surrounds and guides you. And that's a fight they can't win. Their ignorance is their downfall. They act out of ego, assuming they can bend situations to their will. But every move they make only digs them deeper into a battle they don't even realize they've started. They're punching at shadows, exhausting themselves against an opponent they can't see, let alone defeat. Let them rage, let them plot. Every action they take against you only accelerates their own unraveling. This isn't your war to fight. It's a spiritual reckoning they never saw coming. And in the end, divine justice will leave no question about who truly holds the victory. Numbers 12. Every attack on you is an opportunity for you to evolve. Every time someone attacks you, they unknowingly hand you the fuel to evolve. It's almost ironic. While they're busy plotting your downfall, God is using their hate as the very energy that propels you forward. What they see as a weapon is actually a tool for your growth. Each attempt to bring you down, each insult, betrayal, or attempt at sabotage gets transformed into something greater, a stepping stone for your destiny. They think they're crushing you, but in reality, they're just feeding your growth. Every attack they launch creates an opportunity for you to level up, spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. You rise stronger because God knows you're capable of handling it. What they don't realize is that their efforts don't break you. They mold you into a stronger, more resilient version of yourself. Their negativity becomes your momentum. When they throw obstacles in your path, it only clears the way for something greater. The universe has a way of turning their attempts at destruction into stepping stones that guide you to exactly where you need to go. And while they're stuck in their bitterness watching you rise, they're blind to the fact that they're the ones setting the stage for your success. Every attack they make only deepens your purpose and sharpens your focus. What they can't understand is that their plans for you will always be redirected by divine purpose. The more they try, the more they propel you toward what's meant for you. Keep going, because every hit they make only pushes you closer to the very future they wish they could destroy. Number 13. Their ignorance of spiritual laws is their downfall. They operate under the misguided belief that their actions don't have consequences, that they can move through the world without any greater reckoning. But spiritual laws don't bend to their will. They are unyielding, immutable, and always at work, whether they can see them or not. Every malicious move they make against you doesn't just disappear into the ether. It sparks a chain reaction in the unseen realm. And that chain reaction, it will inevitably circle back to them, often with a force they never anticipated. What they don't realize is that every negative intention they send out is met with divine balance. The energy they put into harming you doesn't vanish into nothing. It's absorbed by the very laws of the universe, and those laws work with a precision they can't control. What they fail to understand is that they're not just challenging you, they're challenging the very forces that govern existence. The ignorance they hold about spiritual laws is their greatest weakness. They think their lies, schemes, and attacks can go unnoticed or unpunished. But the universe doesn't forget. The energies they put into their hatred and jealousy must return to them, amplified. Every small act of sabotage is a seed sown in the soil of their own downfall. As they continue to play in ignorance, they dig a deeper hole for themselves, unaware that their actions will come back with a vengeance. You're not fighting them in the way they think you are. They're fighting an unseen, unrelenting force that always has the final say. And in the end, it's their ignorance of these spiritual laws that will be their undoing. They can't escape the law of cause and effect, and it will hit them hard when the time comes. Listen, chosen ones. As I wrap up, chosen ones, you need to understand this simple truth. The battles people try to fight against you are not just about you. They're about something much bigger. You've been placed here with purpose, with a light that can't be dimmed. And when people try to tear you down, they're not just challenging you. They're challenging the divine order. God's hand is on your life, and no matter how hard they try to break you, He won't allow it. Their attempts to harm you only set the stage for their own downfall. You're not here by mistake. Your life, your journey, and your purpose are part of something far greater. Every obstacle they throw at you, every word they speak to tear you down, is part of a greater plan that they can't see. They don't realize they're only pushing you closer to what's meant for you, and in doing so, they're sealing their own fate. God doesn't play when it comes to His chosen ones. He's watching over you, guiding you, and protecting you in ways they will never understand. And while they may think they're stopping you, they're only digging their own graves. So don't be discouraged. Stay focused on your purpose, knowing that you are divinely protected and that everything they do to you will ultimately backfire on them. Your rise is inevitable, and their attempts to break you only pave the way for your greatness. Keep moving forward because God's got you, and nothing they do can change that. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Bye for now and stay blessed.